In the heart of Umuoka, a small town where dreams often die before they finish forming, there lived a man called Mr. Silas Ofo. He had a vision, one that no one else had dared to dream in that sleepy community. He wanted to start a school, not just any school, a real school that would compete with the likes of Queen's College. One where children will wear matching socks, say the pledge without chewing their lips, and pass WAEC without special center. At first, people laughed. School? They scoffed. Even governments know they're serious about education again, and you a son of nobody wants to dare? But Silas didn't get discouraged because he had already seen the name of the school in a dream. Kingdom Heights International Academy. He sold his father's ancestral land, used the money and converted the dilapidated 5-bedroom apartment into classrooms. That was how Kingdom Heights began, with 12 children, few benches and one chalkboard that used to belong to a retired catechist. But vision, as they say, is not enough. One day you are clapping for phonics class, the next day you are dodging local government inspectors. Silas knew that to grow he needed to be certified, registered and approved. But anyone who has ever tried to register with school in Nigeria knows it's like trying to baptize the devil. First, they said he must have a standard toilet facility with running water. He borrowed money and dug a sockaway. Then they said the compound must be fenced with proper drainage. He used zinc sheets and called it temporary fencing pending divine provision. Then came the staff list. The ministry said he must have a qualified school nurse, a librarian and a games master. He tried to fix this with his wife. When they demanded a standard laboratory, he converted his parlor into one. You see, passion is never the problem, it's always funding. He approached his church. They said they were already sponsoring a missionary school in Jos. He tried a cooperative society. They told him to bring collateral. The only thing he had left was hope and his wife's gold necklace, which he refused to submit, saying even Abraham didn't sacrifice Sarah. Mr. Silas Ofo was not a man who believed in staying small. As Kingdom Heights began to pick up, he knew it was time to scale up. But how? He needed more classrooms, a new set of computers, maybe even a website. So he decided to seek counsel. It was time to learn from the fathers of the business, those men whose schools had marble floors, school buses with AC, and websites where children log in with passwords. He got dressed in his best shirt and tie and anointed his head just in case he needed spiritual favor. His first stop was Dr. Adekule of Glorious Destiny High School, whose gate was wider than Kingdom Heights' entire frontage. He waited in the reception for 2 good hours, and when he was finally called in, Dr. Adekule didn't look up from his laptop. "So, you want to know how I grew my school?" he asked, still typing. "Yes, sir," Silas replied with a smile. Dr. Adekule paused, looked him over and said simply, "You will learn as you go." And that was it. Just like that, the meeting was dismissed. Silas felt like he applied for a scholarship and received a slap instead, but he didn't give up. He went to Madam Dorcas, the matron of Royal Wisdom Academy, a woman who wore red lipstick like a badge of office and spoke in an accent she picked up somewhere between DSTV and Nollywood. She let him sit in her SUV for the meeting. "My dear, I didn't suffer for years just to hand over my secrets like gala," she said, adjusting her glasses. "This business is competitive. Use your head and stick to what works for you. Shikina." Just like that, another door slammed. But still, Silas pressed on. Then someone whispered to him about Mr. Adeniyi, the soft-spoken man behind his Grace International School, the one with a scholarship program, summer exchange and robotic lab, even though the robots never quite worked. They said Mr. Adeniyi was kind, that he prayed before every meeting, that if Silas could just meet him, he would find help. So Silas went, and Mr. Adeniyi welcomed him with warmth. "Ah, brother," he said, "I know this face. You are the owner of Kingdom Heights International School, if I'm not mistaken." "Yes, sir." am Silas by name." "Oh, Mr. Silas, you are doing well. The Lord is with you." "Amen," Silas replied. "Sir, please, I want to learn how to grow, how to access funding, register properly, even if it's loan or grant." The man exhaled. "My brother, this one is very deep, so please come back next week. I'll be restructuring my staff in the next 4 minutes, so there's practically no time for it now." Silas left hopeful. He returned the next week, and immediately Mr. Daniels saw him, he screamed, "Ah, Mr. Silas, I was just thinking about you." "Thank you, sir," Silas replied with his hope raised to power 20. "But you will come back next Monday, please, so I can dig up those files." Silas' hope got flushed out, but he returned the next Monday and met his absence. He called him and he said, "Mr. Silas, oh my God, I am so sorry, but I traveled suddenly. I am currently in Lagos. Please come back in the next 3 days. This time I promise to be fully available." He returned again and again, and then again. For 3 solid months, Mr. Daniel kept saying, "Come back next week. Come back on Monday." It was like a parable. Silas began to wonder if he was the thorny soil in the story of the sower, but he never once suspected anything deeper was wrong. To him, it was just the frustration of chasing growth, of trying to find your feet in the world that doesn't believe in ladders unless you are born at the top. He didn't know, he truly didn't know, that what he was asking for wasn't just counsel but access into something people were sworn never to explain with plain words. And so, Silas returned to Kingdom Heights International, tired, broke, but more determined than ever. He called a staff meeting. He said since no one was ready to teach him, they would teach themselves. From today, he announced, every teacher must wear tie, even if you are teaching PHE. They all laughed. Even the school cleaner started wearing tie. Her appearance was like someone who works in the bank, but her salary will always remind her of her position as a cleaner. After 3 months of back and forth like a poorly raised tennis ball, Mr. Silas finally found Mr. Daniel seated in his office. This time, there was no comeback next week. There was no staff restructuring or unexpected travel. Instead, Mr. Daniels smiled at him like a man who was ready to hand over his legacy. "Mr. Silas," he said, "you have passed the test." Silas blinked. "Test?" "Yes, the test of consistency, the test of persistence, and the test of patience. Any man who can keep coming back for 3 months without insult and without giving up, such a man is ready for growth." Silas almost cried, not because of the compliments, but because finally, someone was going to show him the ladder. "Thank you, sir," he said. "I just want the school to grow. I want to impart children and I want to make a difference." Mr. Daniel nodded slowly, his eyes scanning Silas like a man measuring a sacrifice. "My son, you must understand that growth in this business, I mean real growth, comes with a price." Silas sat straighter. "Price?" he asked. "Yes," the man replied, lowering his voice like the wind might carry his words to the Ministry of Education. "You see, this business is not like selling bread or teaching people how to fry chin-chin. This is a kingdom, a very competitive one. Everyone wants to win, to shine, and to dominate. Only the smart and the wise outlast the rest." Mr. Daniel continued, "You think it's just about good curriculum and fancy uniforms?" He chuckled, but there was no humor in it. "You ever wonder why some schools, I mean these schools, offer nothing extraordinary, yet parents are flocking there like it's a refugee camp?" Silas nodded slowly, suddenly feeling like someone had pressed play on a deeper truth he wasn't ready for. You have heard parents say things like, "I don't know, I just love that school," even when the children return home with only rhymes, spray English and bruises. Yes, sir, Silas replied. That's because Mr. Adeniyi leaned forward now. There is more to administration than what the physical eyes can see. He paused and let the words settle like hot air. There are gates in this business, and if you don't have the key to the right gate, your school will remain a playground with a signboard. Silas swallowed hard. His vision was noble, yes, but nobility didn't pay staff salaries or buy new whiteboards. Sir, I am ready, he said finally. Mr. Adeniyi looked pleased. Good. Meet me here Friday evening. Wear neutral colors. No perfumes and no you should know what I mean. Silas nodded and left. That Friday evening, they traveled in silence. Mr. Adeniyi's car moved like it had memorized the road. They passed towns where cows walk more confidently than humans and forests where the trees lean in as if eavesdropping. Finally, they arrived at the compound without a signboard or a name. A gate opened on its own. The man who received them looked ordinary, I mean too ordinary, with grey bears, faded wrapper, calm eyes like he had seen the future and wasn't impressed by it. Young man, he said, I presume you have come to plant your own growth. Silas nodded, unsure whether to feel scared or excited. The man didn't ask for names or history. He disappeared into a dark room and returned with a small calabash wrapped in a red cloth, tied with black thread. And then he said, You will bury this in front of your school gate, exactly 12 a.m., not before and not after. Thank you, sir, Silas said. But what is the price? Like, how much should I pay? The man smiled, the type of smile that meant don't ask again. I will take my price myself, he said, and Silas didn't argue. That night, he did it. He waited until the whole neighborhood was asleep. He carried a shovel like a reluctant grave digger. He dug fast with his heart pounding and eyes doubting. 12 a.m. on the dot, he buried the calabash right in front of Kingdom Heights Academy. Then he covered it gently like a parent tucking in a gifted child. He didn't sleep that night, but he wasn't worried. He felt relieved, like a man who had found the password to success. The next time, it happened like magic. Parents came in droves. Children who had been withdrawn the previous term were suddenly re-enrolled. A parent came from far distance to register her 3 children after seeing just the Instagram page. Even the teachers were confused. My brother, I don't know what is happening, one of them whispered during break. This school is now moving like Unilag on Matric Day. Silas, knowing that whispers were flying around, called for a staff meeting. Everyone came, excited and hopeful. He walked in wearing a crepe shirt, a bow tie, and that kind of confident smile that makes you suspect a hidden lottery win. My people, he began, pacing gently like a motivational speaker. Can you all now see what a little touch of excellence can do? They nodded, unsure of what he meant. Remember when I said we should all dress professionally with ties and proper shoes? You all were laughing at me. They nodded again. Well, even the blind can see the difference. We enrolled over 500 students just this term. The staff erupted in applause. One shouted, Sir, you are really inspiring. Silas laughed, but deep down his eyes wandered to the gate, where he had buried the secret to what's been attributed to Brandon. The calabash was now part of the school's foundation. He didn't feel guilty because to him he hadn't killed anyone and he hadn't stolen as well. He simply buried an opportunity, planted a mystery, and is harvesting now in obedience. 3 years passed, 3 glorious testimony-filled years. Silas could hardly keep up with the school's growth. The uniforms looked sharper. The school anthem sounded richer. It was like someone had poured anointing oil on the school's foundation. Parents were paying fees early. Jam scores were shooting up. A popular Lagos Mummy influencer even did a free shout-out on Instagram, captioned, Something about the school just feels right. Silas beamed with pride as he watched his staff work like a well-oiled machine. But then, something shifted. It started innocently, as these things often do. Mrs. Olayinka, the PhD teacher, came late one Monday morning with her eyes red and voice shaky. "My father passed," she said. Everyone sympathized. Condolence messages flew like lesson notes. Silas said the driver to drop her at the family compound. 2 weeks later, it was Mr. Reby, the government teacher. "Ah, my papa don't go," he said, forcing a bitter laugh. "He just slept and didn't wake up." By meeting, it was Miss Fumi, the receptionist. Her own was the most dramatic. She received a call during closing prayers. She screamed, "Jesus!" and fainted straight into the waiting arms of the vice principal. Her father, who was dancing at a function the weekend before, had collapsed while trying to do something else in the house. They said it was stress. By the end of the term, it had become a pattern. Someone must bury their father. It was never 2 in 1 week, never chaotic, just neat, timed and consistent, like it was on a timetable only the wind could read. But strangely, no one questioned it. They saw it as coincidence, as part of life's bitter script. After all, death is inevitable. People they die, Mr. Reby would say with a shrug, chewing granules. We just no sabi when. Silas reminded himself daily. "I didn't kill anyone, I just buried something." The school's success grew louder, but the corridor of condolence grew darker. The admin's office now kept branded condolence cards and envelopes like they kept PTA invitation letters. And each time a staff member returned from a burial, they would come back, quieter, still loyal, and still excellent, but with a little less of themselves. And the strange thing, not one person resigned. Not one staff member questioned the pattern. They mourned, they healed, their thoughts, and they stayed. One day, a fresh graduate by name Amarachi came looking for a job. She had finished her final exams, done her clearance in UNN, and was waiting for NYSC like everyone else. But Amarachi didn't want to sit at home idle. "I feel they go teach small, she had told her mother one evening. "At least I will be useful and I will sow the seed of impact while I wait." Her father, Pa Ebenezer, was a retired civil servant, a part-time fireball. One of those spiritual chomping, tongue-blasting men who wore white singlets and shouted in prayers like God was in the next room. He doesn't play at all with warfare prayer because his motto was, "I will not die like a chicken." So you will often hear him say, "My father, any arrow of death back to sender. Every coffin assigned for me, catch fire in Jesus' name." People in the compound didn't need alarm clocks because Pa Ebenezer's prayer did the job. When Amarachi walked into the school for the first time, she had no idea what she was stepping into. She just wanted to help children, do something meaningful before NYSC, make some money for sanitary pads and shawarma. But the moment she crossed the school gates, something inside her whispered a prayer. It wasn't rehearsed and it wasn't planned. She just said, "Lord, let no evil touch me or my family through this job. I cover this place with the blood of Jesus." Silas welcomed her joyfully. "You studied physics?" he asked. "Wow, you will handle SS2 and SS3 here." The other staff didn't complain. In fact, they felt oddly relieved, almost like, finally, it wasn't their father's turn. 1 week passed, then 2, and then 3. By the 4th week, the spiritual man who gave Silas the buried item stirred from his slumber. He stretched his body like someone who had been summoned. "Time to collect," he whispered, grinning with red eyes. When he arrived, he didn't meet a spiritually dead man. He met Pa Ebenezer at the altar of prayer. The man was on his knees, pouring out scriptures like boiling oil, surrounded by thorns, fire, angels, and thunder. The altar shook, and the man vanished, and that was the end of him. No second chance at all. He just got wasted like he had wasted others. Back at the school, Things started crumbling quietly. The parents that used to just love the school began withdrawing their children one by one. My spirit no dey flow again with this school, one mother said. I don't know why, but the school feels cold and not unaltered. Staff began to feel drained. The AC stopped working. A generator that had worked faithfully for 2 years caught fire. Jam scores dropped. PTA meetings were rowdy and Silas became confused. He stayed at the school gate every morning wondering, did someone urinate on what I buried? But the truth was worse. The power had expired. It needed renewal, but the one who gave it was no more. Silas couldn't sleep anymore. The time was halfway gone and the numbers were terrible. Parents who once lined up like pilgrims at the gates were now avoiding his calls. Even his old friend Mr. Amadi, who once swore his children would graduate from the school no matter what, transferred all 3 of them overnight. Just personal reasons was all he said, with a smile that didn't touch his eyes. Teachers were whispering. Some said maybe it was the economy. Others blamed the poor WAEC results. Some just shrugged and said, these days, you can't explain anything in Nigeria, but Silas knew better. So one Sunday afternoon, he drove back to meet Mr. Dini. He was desperate, heavy and scared. Sir, something is wrong, he said. Mr. Dini didn't look surprised. I know, he said, rubbing his palms together. Mine too has started to decline. Silas has sunk. So it's not just me? Mr. Dini gave a tired nod. Let's go back. Maybe something has gone wrong where we first started. They drove in silence and very soon they got to the compound, but something was different. The compound was overgrown with weeds. Clotheslines were empty and plastic chairs were scattered broken. They asked a child playing nearby, Baba that used to live here, he don't die last month. He just died like that too, the little child said. Silas' knees buckled. Mr. Dini sat down on a stone and removed his glasses slowly. No words, just silence. The one man who knew what they buried and the secret to their growth was gone. By the next time, the school was a ghost of itself. Out of 300 students who remained, only 49 resumed. 2 teachers quit before the second week. The school bus caught fire mysteriously. People couldn't point to anything concrete, but something was off and unholy. Yet, the tragedy wasn't in the fallen walls of the ghostly classrooms. It was in what no one knew. None of the staff connected the dots. No one paused to wonder why. Term after term, they kept attending father burials. Oh, it's just coincidence, they said. After all, death is inevitable. They drank malt at each burial, collected at Reby, wore black lace and danced. Nobody asked questions. Nobody saw the pattern. Those whose fathers were spared never knew how close the dagger came to their doorstep, and those whose fathers died too early never knew that their lives had been exchanged quietly and painfully for the continuation of a school they never benefited from. No trumpets blew. No alarm rang, just silent transactions done under the veil of normalcy. Silas now sits on the same veranda every morning staring at the once busy gates. He still dresses in tie. He still greets every child with a smile, but the laughter had left his eyes. He sometimes wonders, was it worth it? He didn't kill anyone. He didn't spill blood. He just buried something at midnight and told himself it wasn't harmful. But evil doesn't always need you to kill. Sometimes it just needs you to agree. And that was what Silas did. Hey, African Tales by Camel Tribe. How are you all doing? For me, I am doing just fine. Yes, I know you learned something from this story. Let me get to hear from you in the comments. Before I go today, I would like to say this. If you carry a great vision in your heart, hold it gently but firmly. The road to success, let me remind you, is not a straight line. It is often rocky, windy and full of tests. When the world closes doors, Don't rush to find secret passages or shortcuts, because shortcuts, no matter how tempting they look, have a way of cutting your time short and your dreams even shorter. True growth comes from patience, from integrity, and from the courage to endure the slow climb. It comes from planting your seeds, watering them with hard work and faith, and waiting for the right season. Beware of quick fixes dressed as blessings. Beware of easy ways that promise much but demand too much in return. For many who chase after this, the price is hidden and the cost is often too high to pay. Remember that the tree that grows fast often withers fast, and the mountain that is climbed too quickly may leave you stranded. So if your vision feels heavy, if your journey feels endless, be patient. Wait for it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Do it tarry. Wait for it, because it will surely come, according to Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 3. Dear Karma tribe, when that vision finally speaks, it will blossom and it will shine, but only if you honor the process and guide your heart. For those looking for jobs, please permit me to say this to you. If you are looking for a job anywhere, be very careful about where you put your head and your heart. This world has changed. Don't be quick to say yes to a job offer just because the money looks good or the title sounds nice. Sometimes, what they are really asking you to carry will weigh you down in ways you can't see at first. Before jumping in, listen carefully. Really listen. Hear what God or your inner voice is telling you, because in this world, not every opportunity is a blessing. Some are traps, cleverly dressed up and waiting to break you. So be wise. Don't use your head to carry something heavy that is not yours. Wait.